Hello, everyone. My name is Philip, and I will be the host for today's episode. In this interview for blog.rust.careers, we have a really interesting take on the life of an open source Rust developer. Can you really contribute to free and open source code as a career choice? With me today is the open source Rust developer Orhun Parmaksiz, which I probably butchered your last name. But Orhun, how are you doing today? And welcome to the show.
Hello, Flip. Thanks for having me on the show. What an intro! Wow, that was good. Um, I'm just chilling, working on open source as always, trying to finish up some maintenance tasks so that I will have more time for other maintenance tasks. I don't know. We're good. We're good. How about you?
I'm awesome. I'm great today. So, take us back. Like, how did you get introduced to open source, and what was like your light bulb moment where you were like, "Wow, this is amazing."
So I actually accidentally got into open source. I didn't know it was open source in the beginning. I was creating some fun projects. I was just trying to like learn programming languages and build cool stuff and publish it out to the world. And I was mostly just sharing those tools and other libraries and stuff like that on some websites with some friends, basically. And one day I realized I'm using GitHub a lot, so I created a GitHub account. I started pushing stuff to GitHub just for my own convenience
Mhm.
because I needed some scripts and some other stuff that I needed to put there. Because before that, I was just basically using my hard drive as as
Local storage.
yeah, local storage as a backup and whatever purposes. So I just basically started pushing stuff to GitHub, and then I realized, well, I can just contribute to other projects this way, and I just kept doing it, and then I basically started my career, so to speak, as a open source developer. Back then, I was not really making money, or like I was not really aiming to work in tech or like software as a professional. I was like, this is my hobby. I like doing this thing. And then I studied software engineering, and I realized this is something that I want to do and something that I want to make profit from, and basically started that way.
What was your first step? So you're like, "Wow, I want to do this like full time." What was your like first step on like getting in some cash flow from doing open source? Did you start with like a sponsorship, or do you remember like first time you like got paid to do open source?
So it's actually a direct, like there isn't a direct relationship between making money and open source for me at least. So what I was doing is basically creating projects and putting them on GitHub. And my workflow was I had one idea and I wanted to build this thing. I basically just work on this for months and keep building it. Every day I was just spending some time on it, researching some topic or implementing some feature, and next day doing the same. And I was just really enjoying that. And over time I just like created this GitHub profile, which was I had a couple of projects which was interesting and useful for me and other people. And then people started to see what I was doing, because I was also like sharing stuff on socials. That's one of the like most important things when it comes to building your career in open source, I think. And we will talk about this more in depth, the social media stuff. But long story short, I was just like building this GitHub profile, which attracted some people. They were like, "Hey, you're doing some cool stuff. You want to maybe do this project or like join our company or like join our startup or whatever." So that's when I realized I should like focus on open source. I should just prioritize this hobby, so to speak, to just to make my life sustainable, because that was the like the only reference for me when it comes to just showing what I can do to people. On the side, I was just doing other stuff to like the studying and like learning on my own and stuff like that. But my open source work was the biggest factor in making some money and just keep doing this thing. So there's like not like a direct relationship, but like indirect relationship. So you work on some open source projects, people see those things and they want to like hire you basically, or like they just offer you something, and then that's when you're like, okay, I should just keep doing this maybe, because this is just I can benefit from this and this is fun. So when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep making this.
That's awesome. And did you like join any open source communities in the beginning? Like for me, for example, when I learned programming, I spent day and night on IRC, like just talking to other people, try to like help them solve my problems and then teach me and then interact back to it. And then I was into the OpenBSD community, trying to learn there. But did you take part of any communities in the building or?
I Yeah, I was always part of some community, but it was like shifting a lot because my focus was not on something specific. I was
Oh,
more like experimenting with different programming languages and different tech stacks. I remember some, like in the past, that there were some Skype groups that was like, programming related, and
yeah.
like some, I don't know. I was not a big user at Discord, so I joined Discord pretty late, but there was Skype and other forums, and stuff like that. But there wasn't like, just one, like there wasn't something focused there. It was more like, general programming or like security related stuff going on. And that really helped me, I think, because, you exchange ideas with people and you like sharing what you're building and they share what they're building. You just get inspired from that and so on. So yeah, but I was not super active though. Like I was just there, not really doing much, but sometimes joining the conversations. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And has that shifted, do you think, to now? Like before, you weren't like, yeah, I was around it, but I wasn't like super engaged with the community. Towards, do you feel like now you're more active in the like the Rust community or the OSS community, and it's more like community building now?
Yeah, I would say so, because I realized to make this open source career sustainable, to make this hobby into something that you can profit from, you basically need to be more visible and just share your projects and share what you're doing. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, I gotta just focus on social media a bit more. I gotta focus on my, I don't know, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever, and then be active in communities. Otherwise, you're like doing things, but the only chance that you will meet new people through those projects is just, through GitHub issues and PRs and so on. And it's like a not really a good way to communicate in depth. So I was like, I gotta just be active in more in communities, in Rust communities, and this was after I realized I wanted to focus on Rust solely. Before that, I was just all over the place, basically just experimenting and trying to like find something that I really enjoy. And after I discovered Rust, I basically started to be more active. And over time, when you maintain like a couple of Rust projects and you kind of try to share what you're doing, you kind of meet new people. It's funny because I remember like some small meetups, like online meetups, they invited me, and it was like, such a small, like not a small community, but like a, it's not like hundreds of people were there, like I don't know, 10 or
Like,
20 people,
yeah,
and it was like,
7 people in a
yeah,
video call, maybe. Yeah,
yeah, it's such a great experience. You kind of like meet those people and like you keep talking with them, and it was just great in the beginning. It is still great, but like, when you're just starting out and meeting those people, it's a different feeling. So yeah, these days I'm trying to build communities. I'm using these takeaways from my experience and trying to like apply some of these principles in my own communities and stuff like that. So yeah, I just basically like started out, and everything happened very naturally. I basically like kept building, and then met new people, and here we are.
so let's for for people that are listening and they're like, okay, I love Rust and I want to do like more open source, but they don't know where to start. Where would someone start? Would someone like try to like make a popular crate and then try to get a lot of stars and build up GitHub sponsors, or try to pitch it like to companies so they get some kind of end user agreement, or like where would you recommend like people that are interested in Rust programming and they want to do open source like full time? Where can they start?
I think the primary goal should not be making making a sustainable career from this. The goal should be just building something useful, and the side effect of that would be making some profit from that, or just meeting people that will eventually help you to reach some point where you can make this sustainable. So my mindset was basically I just want to like keep building cool things and useful
Yeah,
things,
that's awesome.
and just focus on that, I would say. Because when I started out, I was like, I don't want to build something very big, but I want to build as many things as possible. I have so many ideas, so I just want to build those things and just like publish them to the world. And if something happens, it happens. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep building, move on to the next thing. The CEO of Patreon, I've been following him for a while. He
Yeah,
was a musician back then. He is now like the CEO of Patreon. He says that his name's Jack Conti. He says that you gotta just focus on keep building, and the perfection does not really exist. So like do not like get caught up in one project, but just finish something, quote unquote finish, and just move on. So that was my mindset too, but I didn't realize this back then though. I was like, okay, what do? I have this project under my hands. I'm just gonna finish it, publish it. Maybe something will happen, maybe people will use it. And each time, since I was putting so much effort into these things, there were some people actually using it, and I was happy. So that was just enough for me. But over time, when you keep making these, you get you reach to a certain audience or certain following, and people just follow you for seeing the next thing that you're doing, or like for one of your projects or so on. So it's just a matter of time and consistent effort, I would say. So yeah, that's what I would suggest to people who start out. Just focus on building cool things. Do not like focus on just making money straight up. That's not gonna work in open source, especially in open source. It's like maybe it will work for you, but I don't think that's healthy. That's not like a healthy way of doing open source. You gotta just more like you gotta become someone more involved in the communities, and have the mindset before you can actually focus on making money, which is an interesting thing to think about, because I mean money and open source is always a bit of a weird mix.
yeah, it
But
is.
yeah, that's what I would say.
Definitely. Definitely. There's a lot of different takes on it. So that's why it's interesting. Like, look at maybe look at Linux Foundation, which is like $1 billion non-profit. Maybe not billion, but $500 million non-profit. And but basically, it sounds like do what you enjoy, and then that will attract other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk a bit about like something people have to talk about in open source is licenses. Do you have a favorite open source license? MIT, GPL?
So it's an interesting question, because when I started out, everyone was like GPL is the best, GPL 2, especially because it's the license of the Linux kernel, right?
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay, sure. GPL 3 seems like it's a free and open source license, so let me just use it. And then I realized there are like counter arguments to that. Especially when I got into Rust communities, most of the stuff are licensed MIT plus Apache too.
Yeah.
And when I started out, I was just like, okay, I have these GPL license tools, and I didn't really see any benefit of GPL because I'm not like a huge person who has like a lot of people depending on my stuff. I
Hmm.
don't have any like legal troubles with any of my projects yet.
That's good.
So yeah, thank you.
Yet, yeah.
So yet, so why not just try out MIT and Apache too? And I actually relicensed one of my projects, Gitcliff, under MIT and Apache too, because I had one idea where I wanted to make this thing into a product and actually sell it, but I didn't do it. And I don't think I will do it. But yeah, that was necessary. So if you're thinking of something like that too, like if you want to like sell this thing or like sell a service or something like that, I think MIT and Apache 2 would be a better choice, especially in your Rust community. Most of the crates are just MIT and Apache 2. But GPL also, on the other hand, it's more like strict. It has more limitations and so on. So if you don't want people to actually sell your stuff, or like if you don't want people to benefit from it in other ways, I think it would be a good choice in that sense. But right now, I don't have a favorite. There are like a lot of other licenses that are just like there's some little tweaks in there where it allows you to do certain thing, and there's another very obscure license which kind of like allows you some other like thing. I don't know, there are like too many, but these
The-
days I just go with like MIT as default. But like, of course, there's some questions about when you license something under MIT, what happens if a big company depends on it and don't give any credit or like contribution back? What happens and so on. But that's just some drama and some like stuff that we don't want to get into right now, I guess. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's very taboo, especially in like enterprise and in bigger like proprietary code bases to like depend on GPL code and or actually use GPL code, because if you get like an internal audit and you're using and you're capitalizing GPL code, it's really big big no that a lot of companies have paid for. But when you're starting a new open source project now, do you just like, oh, MIT license, like here's the base, shoot it out, or
Yeah, I think these days it's like that, and most of the people agree with that most of the time. And one thing that is interesting is you got to be careful about your first choice of license, because when you want to change it, you basically need to get
better
approval
know?
from everyone, every contributor. And if that project gets big, it's going to be a mess. For the Gitcliff project that I mentioned, I had around 50 contributors when I wanted to change the license. So I created a long issue explaining my reasonings and just pinging everyone and just having a checklist of everyone there. So I was just expecting everyone to just comment with their approval or like disapproval, whatever. Luckily, I got an approval of everyone in a month or two. So yeah, but it's a pain. You got to be careful, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, MIT is my choice these days.
Yeah, I normally do everything MIT because it's really nice. And also there is another one I've been using called Beerware. It's called like beer, like you're drinking beer, and it's like a MIT-ish license, and it basically said this comes with absolutely zero warranty, and if you ever like it and you see me in real life, you have to buy me a beer. Uh,
Wow,
so I think
that's good.
funny one.
I like that. I might consider that for a meme project, actually. That's a good one. I mean, there are like a lot of other meme licenses. Like there's this WTF something license, They're like, I don't know, do whatever you want license and stuff like that. But beer license actually sounds really good. So, yeah.
It actually worked. Like I was at a conference and someone actually bought me a beer. I don't know, like based on liking one of the projects that were licensed under that. But maybe you can change it to like a soda if you don't like beer or something. But it's cool. Like show
Yeah, I
some
like it.
appreciation.
Yep.
Um, but so you're a package maintainer as well. How did that history start?
Yeah. how did that happen, right? How did
Yeah.
I get into this this thing? Well, I was using Arch Linux, and I started using it, and I liked it pretty much. And at some point, I was like, okay, I want to learn more about this distro, and I want to learn about the internals and everything, because I was just curious, and there are like too many stuff to learn, and basically started reading wiki pages, some random wiki pages as well, and just being more active. I was using IRC, and I was in the IRC channels of Arch Linux, and I basically decided to contribute more to the project, and the most like straightforward way was creating packages. And there were some missing Rust packages back then, and as just a user, you can use the AUR. You can just package stuff for the AUR and push there. That's the user repository. So I was just doing that, just packaging some cool stuff in the AUR and so on. And I had my first Rust project released, and I packaged it in AUR. And I reached out to one of the official maintainers and asked, "Hey, can you just move this to official repos?" And he said yes, and he kind of like told me a bit about the packaging process, and that was an interesting thing for me, and I just want to learn more about it. And at that point, I decided to let me just apply for becoming an official maintainer, not just in the AUR, but I can, so that I can just push packages to official repos so they can be installed with Pacman. So I decided to do that, and my way of doing that was basically being more active in the community, IRC, and there was one online conference, Arch Linux Conference 2020, and I basically gave a talk there about packaging Rust applications, and that was my way of just being more visible in the community and just meeting the other maintainers, because to apply for becoming a package maintainer, you need to have sponsors, and you got to
Okay.
just send your application to the mailing list. So after I did that, and after I packaged like, I don't know, 100 or like 120, 150 AUR packages, I reached out to some official maintainers, some Rust people basically, and said, "Hey, I want to become a package maintainer. Do you mind sponsoring me?" And they agreed. I write my application, send it to the mailing list, and get accepted at the end of the day. And then after that, I basically started picking up the Rust packaging work in Arch Linux. I've been just doing that for 3 or 4 years now. And when some new tool is out, or if there's something that I think useful, I just go ahead and package it for Arch, because that's the way of just making it more available to more people. And also, I need to use it, I need to package it for myself either way. So I just do that. I'm just trying to be someone in the Arch, where when you say something about Rust packages, I just want to be that person, and it's slowly happening. I hope I'm just adopting other packages too, from other maintainers.
Has there been
So
any like hurdles, like packaging Rust for Arch Linux, or like something that was like incompatible with maybe the distro, or like some bigger problems that you had to uh,
mhm.
come over?
There is one. It's about link time optimizations in crates. So some crates use dependencies that are compiled with CC, or like the CMake or whatever. They depend on some like sys
Libc
crates.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
When that happens, and when the crate enables link time optimization, our packaging setup do not work quite well. So it kind of like errors out, and with some stuff, we usually face this thing when a Rust project depends on the ring crate.
Hmm.
So that was one of the big things. There are some workarounds to that. You can use the clang and some Rust flags and stuff like that, but it's still there, unfortunately. So I don't know when this will be actually resolved, but there's that one which was quite big. It was affecting most of the Rust packages. Other than that, let me see. There were some Rust up issues, but I don't remember. So yeah, usually just the build errors. Also reproducibility related stuff as well, such as we have this reproducibility setup. So when crates depend on something dynamic, something that changes for every build, it just breaks the reproducibility. So there's some crates we needed to patch because of that. So yeah, there are some packaging issues for sure. So yeah.
Do you have any like automated tools or scripts or like CI pipeline to like if you find a new Rust project and you're like, okay, I want to make a Arch package for this, like do you throw it in some kind of in some other program or do you have some kind of sheets for packaging faster?
Right now, it's actually very manual. I have some scripts for sure, but I just like added to my NV checker config, which checks for the new versions, and then I adopt one of the existing package builds and just edit that and see if it builds and so on. So it's quite manual right now.
Do you think it's taking up a lot of your time doing package management? Because I know like some people in the especially in the BSD community, they're like, oh, I don't have time to do package management, and there's always new releases for the things I gotta do, and I gotta like time it with the official releases of the OS. And do you think it's very time consuming doing this?
Sometimes, but I think at the end of the day, it's worth it because you basically need something, or yeah, you gotta do that either way. For me, it's a pleasant experience. I don't really just got into a lot of packaging bugs. I just do that very occasionally. Luckily, because Rust packages are not that hard to deal with. If I'm being honest, compared to other like C packages and Ninja and CMake and so on.
Yeah, yeah, giant make files and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Some make files in C project, they're just insane. Like 3,000 line build file with like special commands, and it's
yeah.
pretty crazy. What are you currently excited about in the Rust ecosystem? Is there any like special Rust project that you're looking into, or like any special features that you're like, wow, this is really cool? What excites you about Rust right now?
I guess the new edition, a new Rust edition, and of course, each release has better Rust features, so that's exciting. For my own personal interests, though, let me think about it. I think I'm more interested, or like more like excited about what excited to see what people will build with Ratutui, which is a project that I'm maintaining with a couple of other people. So I'm more excited on that side, but Rust obviously is in my interests. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything that I can pinpoint right now.
Is there any cool projects that's been done with Ratatouille where you're like, wow, this is unexpected, or this is like a really cool ASCII or ANSI art animation that blew your way?
Yeah, just today I saw something in the showcase channel in Ratatouille Discord. So there's one guy who's into synthesizers and making
Oh yeah,
music,
cool.
and he created a Twee. I don't know what's going on in there, but like the code is not available yet, I think. But it is like visualizing the um, like most of the things that you would see on like you would need practically on for controlling the synthesizer. I think like there are some cool animations like the BPM and like some things just going right and left and so on. I don't know what's going on. That's why I'm really impressed. And then he's at the same time playing with it, and then he recorded himself playing, also his desktop. So like I'm like, okay, what is going on here? I need to learn more about this, how and why. And okay, cool.
Awesome.
So that's really exciting for me, and I want to like start to make music again. So I'm a bit um, interested in seeing the tweets and the music crossover. But other than that, there are like other stuff as well. Like there are some games, there the terminal games. There are some quite cool tools, and I built now this library called Ratzilla, which enables you to build websites using Ratatouille. So there are like websites built with it. I saw a person build their own personal website using this library and so on. So yeah, I'm like very excited about these things basically.
How does Ratzilla work, like from a high level perspective? Does it generate like WebAssembly that you invoke in a HTML file, or
Yeah, so we are using WebAssembly for sure, and just generating. So there are like two ways of generating this TUI website. First one is using the DOM elements like the spans, like pre, and so on, and at the end you basically get like a TUI looking HTML output. And the other way is to use the canvas, like the HTML canvas object, and that is simply just drawing stuff onto the canvas, and everything is just controlled with WebAssembly. Of course, we are just depending on the WebSys crate heavily for making these things, and it's working quite well actually, and it's surprisingly it wasn't super difficult to get it working, surprisingly, because everything is super clear in the WebSys documentation. And for me, as someone who has a backend and like systems background, it was just something fun to work with. Surprisingly, like I said, and the most annoying part and the most painful part was, I think, getting this thing to work responsively. But yeah, we'll see. There's some missing parts there for sure.
and where in development is that now? Can people like use it to build cool stuff, or is it like still in beta, or how far have we come?
I think it's usable right now, but there's some missing stuff for sure. If you want to build something static, some website with some text and some animations, or like, I don't know, some cool looking ASCII stuff
Yeah.
and some links, it's usable. That's what I did uh, for our upcoming meetup and meetup/community terminal collective. If you go to terminalcollective.org, it's entirely built with Ratzilla, and they're like some text, some links, and that's pretty much it. Like that's all the info that I wanted to show. So we have this hyperlink widget that comes from Ratzilla, so I just use that, so it works. But if you want to like build something more complex, so something more dynamic and something, I don't want to say dynamic, but like something more interactive, it might be missing some parts. I still haven't looked into most of the things in there. So
So what else are you working on currently? You have Ratatouille, you have Ratzilla, you have Gitcliff. Is too many projects to count, or do you have some main other interesting projects currently going on?
um, other than those, I think the Rosati's maintenance is taking some time. I'm working on that, I would say. What else? Let me think. So um, there are some Arch Linux tooling projects. There's this ALPM project that we are doing with three other people in the Arch community. This is basically a Rust libraries for Pacman and interacting with Pacman. And this is also taking some time of mine. What else? I don't know. There's some like maintenance tasks here and there. There's some like projects which I also maintain. Sometimes I just gotta do some reviews or like implementations on those things as well. So it's I'm like I'm s- always busy. I'm not complaining, but yeah, it is what it is.
That's awesome. So I bet you spend like a lot of time in the terminal, as I do. I love the terminal. Why leave? What terminal emulator are you using? Are you using like Alacrity, or you using? some other terminal emulator, or have you played around with different ones, or do you have a favorite? Or
Yeah, so I am using multiple ones actually because um, for my daily work and stuff, I'm basically on Electricity. I've been using that for a while now. And before that, I was using my own terminal emulator actually because I was just like, let me just write my own. That's interesting project. So I write my own terminal emulator in C. That was a mistake, but whatever. And then I moved on to Electricity. Um, so yeah, so I was using my own terminal emulator, and then I switched to Electricity because this was like very similar to my own config and to I think that was Termit back then, and my own terminal emulator was called Kermit, and
Kermit?
Alacrity was like a similar one, also like faster one, and switched to that. I've been using that ever since then, and for my presentations and stuff like that, because Alacrity does not support images, I'm using Westterm. Westterm has the best image support out there, and it works quite well. So I just basically like switch to Westterm when I want to present something. And sometimes I use Rio. That's another Rust and GPU based thermal emulator. And this one has like shaders, and I like that because sometimes I just want to like present something in a cooler way. So I just
Yeah.
enable some shaders in that. And yeah, and these days I'm thinking of adding Ghosty to my stack because Ghosty has a thermal inspector mode, which is quite helpful when you want to debug some TUI stuff. So yeah, like I'm using multiple ones, but the Alacrity is the main one, I think.
That's cool. I need to check it out. The Rio one. I haven't heard of
Yeah.
that one. Put the link in the show notes. Do you have any like favorite crates or like hidden gems that you found that you're like, wow, this is like a super useful crate. I wish like more people would have utilized it.
Do you mean like a library or a command line application or
Library. Like, is there any like
library?
cool libraries that you think is like really useful, but like almost like a hidden gem?
Yeah, I so there are a lot of these things, but let me just think. One thing that I use these days is maybe it's not a hidden gem or anything, but Vinov, the parsing library. I don't know if you know about it, but it's like
No.
there are like a couple of parsing libraries in Rust. There are like GNOME. There is like some library called Chomsky.
Chomsky, yeah.
There's what was it? Yeah, I don't remember the name. There's Pest, which like uses grammars and so on. And these days we are using Vino in this ILPM project, Arch Linux tooling project. And Vino is a pretty good parsing library, I would say. We use this for parsing some arbitrary file formats, and I looked at it uh, after I attended a talk about cooking parsers with Vino, and it's like amazingly well, and I like it. The documentation, it's a bit like not like it needs some examples for sure, but you can just read it, like go through the chapters, and you'll get an idea of how this works. So I think Vino is a good one, and I'm still learning about it. I'm still trying it out, and so on. So yeah, I would say Vino.
That's awesome. That's cool. I never heard of that crate before. I'll definitely check it out and we'll put some links to it. Is there any
Yeah,
like libraries that you wish people would build, but maybe you're thinking, oh, maybe no one has time for that, or like, oh, this will be super useful?
okay, let me think. Libraries that I want people to for build. I don't know. Not really. Do you have any?
On the top of my head, I am not sure exactly. Probably something Tokyo related. I remember
Mm.
I had some problem with some part of Tokyo, which I was like, well, the Tokyo tasks were like I wanted them to be structured a bit differently, but you're also maintaining a tool called GPG GNU-PG tool, right?
Hmm.
Which is
Yeah.
it's bindings for GNU-PG, right? Or
Yeah, so this was necessary for my GPG and GNU-PG adventures when I decided to become a package maintainer for Arch,
yeah,
because in Arch Linux we use like GPG keys,
yeah,
and I just wanted to like visualize the signatures and how many keys I have, which ones are secret, and who signed them, and so on. So I created this TUI using not Ratatouille, because that back then there was no Ratatouille. This was TUI RS, and I used that to build this GPG TUI thing, and it was just basically for visualizing my key keyring, and or is it called keychain? I don't know.
keyring,
And
yeah.
yeah, so basically you can just visualize which keys you have. You can also do some operations such as exporting them or generating a new key, signing other keys, and so on. And it turned out pretty useful for me, because basically, like, the one fun thing to do is give the Arch Linux keyring, like the system keyring, to GPG TUI. It will give you like a bunch of keys in a list, and you can like see the relationships between the keys and who signed which key, and so on, and like when it expires, and when something happens, and so on. So whenever I want to do something related to my keys, I just go to GPG TUI, and it just usually just one key press, and yeah, that's very convenient for me. So that's why I created it. So yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I just use the command line tool GPT-2.
Hmm.
Works pretty okay. But then sometimes you have different use cases where you have like applications that they can't read you can't really use wrappers for it. You're also doing like streaming and you're doing social media, and can you talk a bit about that? Like how often are you doing like live coding and stuff like that?
Yeah. So the reason why I started live streaming is because I want to show people my workflow, and show how I work and what I'm doing, basically, because I think that's like the best way of just showing why people should sponsor me, basically, because otherwise, I'm doing some things uh, behind closed doors, and nobody knows what I'm doing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I just wanted to be more open.
Oh, that's
So I'm trying to like stream kind of frequently. Like I usually take one day off between streams, and I try to stream when there's something that I can work on, something fun, and I just press go live, and just like do the usual stuff that do, except that I'm talking with the people who joined, and sometimes they're like fun conversations, or like sometimes I learn something new. The other day I was um, trying to learn Holy C programming language. I
Isn't
was
that
like,
the Temple OS?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
So
an interesting character, Terry. Yeah, it's
yeah, absolutely. So I basically like installed Temple OS, and I was running Temple OS, and there was one one little program that I wanted to write in Holy C. It was like a very simple benchmarking program, and I was just basically like streaming Temple OS, and there was one guy in the chat, and he helped me a lot implementing this. Um, and yeah, shout out to Rob, if you're listening. So yeah, I just basically learned Holy C from the live stream. Like that's just amazing, and I met other awesome people during the streams as well. So it's a great way of being more visible, and also like interacting with people. So I just love it.
that's really fun. That's awesome. And how was Holy See? Was it hard to? Did he make a lot of tweaks to the language, or Did you find it okay to compile?
Well, there isn't a compiler for like there isn't something that you can install and use in Linux at least. That
Hmm.
was an issue. So I looked at it at the different compilers, which was just the custom compilers, not just the original compiler of Holy C, because that belongs to TempleOS. So it was quite hard to set a development setup. Then I realized there isn't such thing as a development setup. You just gotta use TempleOS to write Holy C, and then I just like used Kimu to run the Holy See image. And at that point, it was just a surreal experience because of all the stuff going on in the OS and like all the games and flashing things and unclickable stuff and clickable stuff and like sprites in the command line and stuff. That was just very interesting. But when it comes to writing the actual code, the editor is a bit weird. I actually pulled up some of the Terry's old videos about how to use the editor
Yeah.
because like it's like you gotta press Alt to save or something. I don't know. I don't remember, but
Hmm.
like it was weird. So after that, I got into the flow. It was better, but still, the language is a bit weird. But yeah, whatever. It was fun.
That's awesome. That seems like really fun. Like, let's get on a live stream and then let's just hack on something fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what does the future hold? Do you have any talks that you are gonna give in the future? Any meetups you're excited about? Any new crates coming out? Like, what does the future hold?
So I'm going to be pretty active this year in terms of conferences and events. I hope, and there's one in Poland next month, and also there's another one. So there's like Rust Meet and Rust Asia next month. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna go there, and there will be a workshop, something like a hackathon, maybe in
nice.
both of those, and there I will be giving a talk as well. Um, and like I have some other ones planned, but not certain. So basically, trying to like go to conferences and teach people Rust and ratutui and tuis in general, and also like maintaining these projects ratutui as well, and trying to like improve what I already have, Ratzilla to be specific, and the other projects. So just doing whatever I do always, and just grinding basically. That's the goal. And yeah, if you just follow me, you'll probably just see what I'm doing. But yeah, that's the rough summary.
And what is the best way to stay up to date with you? Is it to follow you on Twitter or GitHub, or where can our listeners stalk you online?
I think socials, Mastodon or Blue Sky. Twitter is, I don't know, Twitter is a weird platform nowadays, so I don't recommend people to use Twitter. Um, and yeah, just follow me on those socials. Maybe LinkedIn too if you're using LinkedIn. And I am also active in Discord channels like Ratatouille server or any other server that we are both in. I'm probably active there. So those are good options. Also, YouTube is another good one. I'm trying to post stuff there. I'm posting like shorts of my live streams, and sometimes I just create shorts about what I'm planning to do or what I'm doing or stuff like that. So that's another good way, I would say.
That's awesome. We will have all that linked in the show notes. Is there anything else like you would like to mention about like working with open source or life as an open source developer, or is there anything like unusual with it that you didn't think that you had to learn along the way, or
Yeah, I think yeah, you just gotta take your time with it, I would say, and try to build the best thing that you can build, and over time it will just pay off, I would say, because for me it was like that. I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. It was like a risky decision to go full on open source because what will happen.
Yeah.
Like there's so many uncertainties, but I guess you gotta just make sure of yourself and keep building and take your time, and don't get into the perfection mindset. Just move on when you finish something and keep building.
That is awesome. That is great advice. All right, Orhun, thank you so much for joining me today. I will have, if you're a listener, we will have all the links in the show notes. You can just scroll down and check them out. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
All right, thank you for having me.